Shout out, the Connects. Luis Guzman. Don't ever go, never leave my side. Passion's all I have, courage is my drive. And if I lost you, I would lose it all together. I wouldn't have composure to get it back together. I don't know.
Welcome to I'm an Artist Not Salesman podcast, where we highlight the journey of entrepreneurs, creatives, and business people alike to showcase that every light and dark moment create a beautiful piece of art. This is episode 58. I am your host, Luis Guzman. Big shout out to our sponsor, Hanobi. And our guest today is a Bronx-born and bred giant in the mortgage lending space and beyond. He is the CEO of Hudson Group Realty, and he started back in 2004 and quickly was put to the test with the home financial bubble that burst in 2008. But he persevered, and his strength can not only be seen in numbers, but also in his heart. An author who wrote The H in Hard Money and gives you strategic ways to use short-term lending to expand your growth in real estate. A father, a husband, an entrepreneur with a vast mind for growth and showing everyone that there is a better way if you can make a way. A fellow Latino like myself that is teaching and showing our people how to be financially literate and to show up, period. He is here today live in studio to talk about real estate, the challenges that life may bring, but the grit to see it all through and get to the other side. Ladies and gentlemen, Luis Omar Figueroa, welcome to the show.
I feel like I should do it. I should be doing that. Sorry, I got hyped. It was me.
That's it, man. Listen,
what a preamble. Thank you for the intro, man.
Brother, no, thank you for making your way over here. Guys, he drove about an hour and a half away.
Yeah. No, an hour with the Alpina. The Alpina got me fast.
The Alpina, 1,000 miles an hour on the highway.
Got me fast. But before we start, I want to say thank you for having me on the show, because I, as a host, also understand that there's finances, there's scheduling, there's work. There's work behind it, man, and people don't really appreciate it if they don't do it. Like it's like when you see a guy working out, like, oh, I know he's doing something. Yeah.
There's a lot of things that go into production. There's a lot of things that go into the look that people hear this as they're driving, as they're walking, as they're working out, but you don't know the small, tangible little details that go into
the work behind the results.
Yeah, you got here early, right?
Yeah.
And I was in a meeting trying to figure out my AdSense with YouTube. Right. So there's always something to do. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I think for people like you and me, we stay driven because there's always something to do.
Yeah, I mean, and also always something to learn, right? Like if you're forever a student, you'll always find, no matter how high you ascend, there's always a new set of stairs. Like I learned that every time. I made it. I'm like, what? What's that? And then you're like, you
keep going.
You become more aware, and you're like, oh, I have to do this. I have to do that. So, if you're okay with forever working, then you'll be good with becoming an entrepreneur. It's not for everyone, and it's also, sometimes they say ignorance is bliss, because if you know too much, you get overwhelmed. But the truth of the matter is that if you just take one step forward every day, you'll get there. You'll get there. And that's where, because I feel like people get it twisted. They're like, oh, it's too hard or it's too far. It's like, nah, man, it's one day at a time. It's one day at a time. When people come for mortgages here, right, for me, they're always scared they're going to get denied, right? They're like, oh, I'm like, well, let's take a look. And then I start breaking it down, and then they're like, oh, it's not that bad. And if we're not ready, okay, this is how you do to get ready. You have like a coach in your corner.
Got it.
And even going, like, I'm really developing my real estate brand now, like the buying and selling of real estate. I've purchased and bought commercial buildings for myself, apartment buildings, my primary home, multifamilies. I've done that. So now as a broker, and with my wife helping me, we're helping people understand the value in ownership, but also, the things they got to look for, because nobody tells you about it. And it's not to get people scared. It's just, this is life, right? Mm-hmm. Like, oh, I don't want to own because the boiler might break. Yeah. The boiler might break if you rent. Yeah. Right. And then you got to wait for your landlord, whoever he or she is, to take their ass and come get you and fix it. Like, I did that for a while. Not cool. Not good for me. I've had water sewage backups in my apartment when I was renting, and I'm calling, I'm not getting a phone. I'm not getting somebody to respond. So I get a plumber. I get it done. And then, a day later, they call me back, hey, we saw the message. And I'm like, yeah, man, I had fucking shit in the basement. Yeah. I was like, and we're not having that. Well, we're not going to reimburse you. I was like, okay. So that was one of the indicators to me. I was like, I got to, ownership is where it's at for me, because I'd rather take the L for me than for somebody else.
I love what you said about that. And I think it's very important to promote ownership, but to your point, explaining to people the nasty part of it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of people are house poor. And you know why? Because they put everything they have into their mortgage. That right now, what are percentage rates? 6.7, 5.9, around, hovering around there.
And it's mid sixes. Yeah, mid-sixes.
Okay, then you got to put down a certain amount for deposit, 20, whatever you're doing, right? People are scrapping to get their home. Now you got home ownership, but then I love how you said you got to talk about the bad stuff, because if your boiler breaks, do you have a budget for that? If you need a new roof, do you have a budget for that? If your pipes burst, do you have, like, it's cool to be an owner, but what you're doing as far as giving people the game of like, yeah, it's cool to be an owner, but you also got to prepare for the days that it's going to sting a little bit.
There's a saying that I use all the time. Everyone wants to be a boss until they have to pay the rents, right? And the salaries and this. And like, so being an owner is dope. And like, we're looking, personally speaking, we're talking a little bit about perhaps buying another house and moving out of our house.
Right.
So there's some upgrades we want to do to our house, and it's be like, just throwing numbers out, like $50,000 for different things that I want to touch up. If I don't sell it, there's a quality of life to it also that I'm gonna enjoy it anyway.
Correct.
So like, but you know what? Oh, if I put $10, I better get 20. Now you're kind of retarding your perception of things, right? Like, you got to look at it both ways. Look, if I sell it, somebody might not think it's as important as I did, and you might not get all your money back, or you might, right?
Correct.
So, but you got there's that also that second part of quality of life. Like, there's two really big trains of thought that I've seen in being an entrepreneur, right? And there's the old, and I'm gonna say this, and this might, like, they might start putting on YouTube, oh, get them off the show. But there's the old immigrant thought process of where, you don't spend anything, you save everything, and then eventually you'll be able to do something. That's one thought. Or the second thought, the one I kind of grew up around, right? So I grew up in 196 in the Bronx, and the best entrepreneurs out there were on the corner selling drugs.
Yep.
Right?
That's it is what it is.
So I'm looking at that, I'm like, wow, these guys, they driving nice cars. But my mother made sure I stood off the street, I went to school, and education was key. So then I started thinking about, well, my mother worked as a meat packer, and she worked for a wage earner, somebody gets paid per hour. And I tried doing that. I had 3 jobs at one point. I had a doorman job, a waiter, and a personal trainer. I did that for like 8 to 9 weeks. I was 20 years old. I had a baby. I was in school. So I had to make it happen. My mother wasn't well off. And me as a man wanted to take care of my responsibilities, right? So I was good. But at one point I was like, I don't have a life. I was making some money, not change your life money, but money enough to take care of stuff. But I didn't have a life. So then the thought process for me became, I need to hire skill paying jobs. Like, I need to get into something that pays me more. And in my little journey of life, I've met really rich people as a doorman, as an elevator man, and Rosie O'Donnell, Sidney Lauper, like Nick Pileggi, Nora Ephron. These are people that wrote Sleepless in Seattle, Goodfellas. Like, I met, and they were the coolest fucking people, and they were never on some scarcity shit. They're like, you should try that.
Try it.
Or when you got out of school, because I was in school, they knew that. When you got out of school, you should try this. Or hit up my friend when you get out. Or like, just trying to give you game. Because they know it doesn't take anything from them. Going back to our people, like, when you grow up in a certain type of economic restriction, you believe that anything you give someone else is taking from yours. And what they don't understand is the world is vast. And you have to understand that there's a lane for everybody. And you reached out to me on the podcast, and I was like, let's do it. Because I believe, and I want to support you, and I'll have you on my show, and you support me. And if we spread a positive message to our people, to me, that's going to be the change. My whole thing, I have my own podcast, Real with Omar, is resilience, education, attitude, and leverage, right? So resilience, being able to get through hard shit. Education, learning your shit. Doesn't mean going to school, but whatever you want to do, you got to learn. Like, get esoteric, get really deep dive into it. I was using the term before, geeky. Get into
geeky.
it, because you become an authority in your shit. Nobody can tell you nothing. Attitude. Having the right attitude. And what I mean by that is, like, not having an ego. Like, man, I have stories that I'm not going to share, but, like, as a young person, I had an ego, right? I thought I was better or whatever. I had the wrong attitude. As I got older, I understood, and the crazy part is, and this is to all your viewers, is that the message only hits when somebody that you respect and admire tells you. Your mother tells you, your father tells you, it's not hitting.
Doesn't hit the same.
Has to be somebody that you kind of see them in a way that, I wish I could, right? Be that guy. And then that'll hit, and it'll open your mind and unlock you. And I use that term on purpose. It unlocks you to being open change or to perhaps evolving. And our people in general, and I don't mean Puerto Ricans, I mean people that grew up with nothing. They have an issue with that growing because it's so far away, right? That concept is so alien. That shit is it's crazy. I'm like, nah, it's not crazy. Like, so I know I'm not for the tangent, but I want people to understand that, man. It's really important, man. Like, helping your brother or sister does not diminish you. And that's the message, because people feel, and I've been in these rooms, I'm like, what does that have to do with you, right? On the upside, I'm like the patriarch of my family, right? And so I have family members or whatever. They're like, well, what does it cost you? I was like, it's not what it costs me. It's rather don't be entitled. What are you earning? What you want, everybody wants the quick.
Give me.
Right. And I'm not hating, but I've been doing this for 20 years, bro. Like I dove into the game and I learned the game and I learned it to apply to myself. And I helped buy my first house with my mother. I helped my aunt buy her first, like I helped, and not for money. This was before I was a real estate agent. She was just like, mijo, quiero que me haga lo que hiciste con tu madre. Like, you get the call. And I'm like,
you get the call, yeah.
Like, I got you.
Yeah.
What we working with? She got a lawsuit. So I put it together. I had a friend that, he had a tax issue. He's like, I need some money over here. I was like, yo, I got you. Let's do this deal. And so I changed the context or the narrative of my family. Like everybody, like they all call me for like, I'm the advice guy, but
yeah, you're the advisor to the family.
But only because I've done what they're thinking about doing. Like the hard part is it's hard to preach something if you haven't done it. And that that leads me into the whole conversation about like, these life coaches out here that are 20 years old.
Oh yeah.
I can't tell you how to do that if I didn't do it, I feel, right? And and I'm out here still learning, right? Like I'm a little ahead of others, but there's so much more I want to learn. So I want to illustrate that not to say that I'm anywhere near finished, but I'm aware of that. And so that if you're not satisfied in your own life, you have to take drastic action and understand you have to have, my son was making fun of me yesterday, I have on my screen aggressive patience. I was like, he's like, oh, that's like being, what'd he say? He was like, it's like being lazy discipline. I was like, no, it's not. I said, you have to be aggressive about what you want, but you have to have patience to let it develop. It's different than being stagnant. Yeah. It's different than just sitting there and be like, I wish this would happen for me. I'm like, well, what are you doing to do that? Well, I didn't do anything yet because I wish. No. You got to do these things and you got to keep doing them, but give it the time to develop, have that patience to let it work. Because everybody wants the overnight, sensation, the Amazon, quick now. So I try to preach that because that resilience, I think our generation or anybody who's changed the legacy of their family has started there and has somehow ascended and gone through these other tribes. I use these words on purpose. You've gone through these other, because socio-economic, socio-cultural, there's so many. Like we could go like forever. We got 5 hours here because that's what, you know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, man, it's big. Like, and the more people I talk to, I understand. Because like me speaking to you, and I've been on other podcasts where they ask me questions. I'm like, yeah, that's where I come from. Damn, yeah. I remember that. And then I'm like, how the fuck did I get here? Right?
Yeah, like, it's wild, right?
Right.
It's a crazy ride, man.
Yeah.
I mean, you talking to me about, the Bronx and growing up and, seeing the drug dealers on the corner, having the immigrant mentality. Like, I have 3 jobs, but you know what? I'm busy. Immigrants believe that we have to stay busy. If we're staying busy, even though we have no life and no downtime and no freedom, it doesn't matter. We're staying busy and we're working hard and we got pride. We take pride in that. You know what I mean? But coming from, your neighborhood, I was born in Newark, so I'm raised in Newark.
Newark is tough.
Yeah, it's tough. Yeah,
New Jersey Drive, shout out.
Yeah.
I know. Yo, I'm a student of the culture.
Student of the culture. Same here.
Yeah.
So you growing up in the Bronx and seeing, I mean, all of this in real time and, how it just came back to you and say, wow, I was there. Yeah. And look where I'm at to now. How much of that is did you use for motivation? And how much of that did you actually because you said you had a big ego when you were young. Did you do anything that kind of went off the beaten path that was wrong? And if you did, how did that bring you back to where you are today?
Well, when I say I had a big ego, is like I have a really strong sense of belief, right? So anytime I said something that
confident.
Something out of, to my mother, it was like arrogance because I was talking in these concepts that were so far from her. She was like, what? I was like, yeah, we could do this. And, I make 6% of this. And this is like, and she's like, is that, everything out of her mouth was always, is this legal? I was like, it's legal, Ma, it's legal. Like, but remember, she came from Puerto Rico, not speaking English. To even take it further, she used to carry water on her head to the house. Like, that's where she comes from.
Yeah.
So I was talking to my son about that yesterday. I was like, yo, look at where I have you. I said, it is your ultimate responsibility to take it forward. I was like, I want to see where you go.
Yeah.
I was like, even if I'm on the planet, I'm going to see. And it kind of hit him because I was like, grandma was this, right? And he was like, wow. He's like that. He's like, dirt floors? I was like, dirt floors, bro.
Dirt floors.
I was like, I've had milk from a cow. Like
wow.
you know, in Puerto Rico, like.
They're just like, huh?
Yeah, they're like, he's like, you serious?
There's
I was like,
no Wi-Fi?
I was like, bro, Wi-Fi. But you know what I'm saying? Like, when you start taking a roll or a stroll through your memory banks and you kind of, and I don't say that to say, yo, I'm washed. I say that to say, oh shit, okay, wow, that's crazy. Wonder where I'm going to end up next. Because that's really how I think. And most people, well, I don't want to say that. I'll say that what I've seen is that other people, you know, they kind of like become a prisoner of their own mind where they're like, this is where I'm at.
Yeah.
And then I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. If that's, you know, whatever job you want to do it. But don't complain about it. Because if you want to change it, then you have to take drastic action, right? And that's going to alienate people. Why? Because we're not the same. I don't know anybody from my childhood. I'm too different. Mm-hmm. Right? I'm just too different. I
don't speak to
they just don't understand me. They're like,
they're from another planet.
Yeah, like they look at me like, you bugging, bro. I'm like, nah, I'm not bugging. This is what we're doing.
You know what I think it is, Omar? I think it's that, you know, trauma. We'll start with trauma.
Okay.
Trauma at a young age can sink your confidence and your true self, who we really are. Now, you and me are here speaking, but we're also speaking from a position where we healed our inner child and we have a meaning of self. And we know what it's like to be the adult in a situation and handle business and do what we need to do to get to the next level and to the next step. But to the people that complain all the time and everything is always, you know, a cloud over my head, the glass is half empty mentality. I personally feel that they are drained because of somebody that squashed their confidence when they were young. And they don't even see themselves at that level because they're so underneath water. Do you know what I mean?
Bro, look, I understand and I agree with what you're saying. I'll give you a personal example. My mother passed away last year. So,
I'm sorry, man.
Like, no, I appreciate that. I took care of her for 7 years. She had a stroke in 2017. So the trauma, about trauma, bro, that's another 5 hours, right? But I was always her guy, meaning I was parentified. You know what that means when I was a kid? I was parentified, meaning when she came, she didn't speak English. So I'm 6, 7 years old. And I'm at the doctor's office, and she's like, "What's he telling me?" Right? Because she doesn't speak the language, so I'm translating.
Yeah.
Parent teacher night. She used to come. She didn't speak English, so I could have said whatever, right? But we didn't do that back then because we didn't know any better.
Yeah.
But I'm like the parent. Like I'm trying to help
like in
her.
The role of
right. I'm like
parent/husband.
I'm her
honestly,
correct. Accountant, lawyer. I'm everything. Right.
Sheesh.
So. As my brain starts growing because I start learning the landscape, right? I talk about that all the time. Like when I went to college, I went to NYU, I had classes like Vanessa from the Cosby Show, like, and I'm like, oh shit, like this is real life, right? And so this changes the way you perceive things because here you see somebody on TV, and this is before YouTube, this is before phones.
You have to see him in real life,
right? There was so many gatekeepers. It was like you saw somebody, it was like a big deal.
It was a big deal.
So I'm starting to learn that we're not that different. She'd had an opportunity. She took advantage of whatever. It was cool to be black at the time. Whatever, however you want to do that. Right. But to me, it all became possible. How? I didn't know yet, but I knew it was possible. So me and my mother would clash heads constantly because I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. She's like, no, get a job at sanitation. Why? As a pension, as this. I was like, Mom, but that's not for me.
That's not for you, yeah.
We butt-headed so much that when I left the two-family, I bought a two-family with her and I left with my wife, it was the best thing that could have happened because she understood at that moment that this is the way it went down, right? Because she would always guilt me into everything.
She was codependent of you.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely,
gotcha,
absolutely. She was like, "Oh, well, who's going to pay the rent?" I was like, "Look, I'm moving out, and I'll pay that rent even if the apartment's empty, because I don't want you to worry about it." At that point, I was in the mortgage business. I was doing really well, so I was flexing a little bit.
What year is this?
This is like 2010.
2010.
2 years after the meltdown.
After
things started rocking and money started being made. So what happened when I got into the business at 04, 05, I didn't know anybody who was a homeowner. I didn't know what mortgages were. I was recruited by a guy who owned a bank who wanted to do real estate speculation in the South Bronx. So he came to meet me. I had a liquor store and a nightclub at the time. And he was like, listen, I want to buy some properties. He was explaining the game to me that I never knew existed. He was like, I want to buy properties down here in the South Bronx at a decent price. You help me find them, I buy them, and I will pay you 6% of the sales price. So I'm doing the math. I'm like, oh, okay. Well, these numbers are real.
Yeah.
And so I find one. The first check was like 18,000. I find another one. Second check was 36,000. Wow. And this is pretty clean work. At this time in my life, I'm dealing with people that are drunk all the time at the liquor store, throwing up my shit.
Is this the liquor store where the guys were mad because the investment?
Yes, those are. I had partners
the
for like
credit.
4 months.
It's credit.
Yeah, you heard that. Well, going back to education,
yes,
right?
Yes,
yo, if you don't know how this shit works, you're not gonna believe. It's like how many times you go to the hood and be like, "Yo, there's this program." That's a scam. No, it's real.
It's real. Yeah.
No, it's a scam because they don't have the education right? The concept is so far that they're like, nah, it has to be a scam. It can't. Sounds too good to be true, right? So anyway, so yeah, I'm not gonna regurgitate that whole story, but anyway, so I get into this game, and then he tells me to come to the bank, pick up my check, and I start seeing what these kids are making. I didn't know anybody in this industry, and I wasn't even put on to go into this industry. He needed a brown face to go into the South Bronx. Now that's about get, because I was 26, 20, like I was a kid. So I was like, yo, I got it. Because I'm in the hood.
You were just autonomously working through this. Like, I'm gonna make this money.
Yeah.
But not knowing you're getting the game too.
Right. So I understand. So I'm like, yo, this is the whole thing. So boom, I'm doing that. We buy a few buildings. I get some big checks. I leave the liquor store or nightclub. And he tells me, you should become a loan originator. And I'm like, yeah, what's that? Right? Because I don't know what that is. And he's like, these guys they lend mortgages, they lend money to people who own homes. Again,
like the bank.
Going back to, I don't know any owners of any houses. So I don't, this shit is foreign to me, right? Yeah. So I get in the game. I start going. I speak English and Spanish. I do like 90,000 in 3 months, which to me was a lot of money, right? It was
2010,
06, 07. This is before the meltdown. Because it gets worse, then it gets better.
Oh, okay, got it.
No, I know, I jumped around.
Yeah, you were moving and flexing before the meltdown.
Yeah, I was moving, but the thing was that a lot of guys told me, like, if you would have been here 2 years earlier, because there was a lot of guys that got indicted because they were doing some crazy shit, but they were making millions. Like that money was too far away for me to understand that point, right? Like now I make big moves. I'm like, okay.
It was no Doc heaven.
Right. You understand. So had I gotten into it then, I'd be rich, but I'd probably be locked up a little bit.
Yeah.
Anyway, so going back to my mother, we had bought the house. I said, look, Mom, I'm leaving. I'm going to pay for it. Don't worry about it. And so what that did was it restructured our relationship because she knew that I wasn't just her son no more. I was like, he's dictating a boundary right now, and if I don't comply, I might lose my son.
Right.
So our relationship got better. I know it sounds anti-intuitive, like, yo, he left, but I said, yo, I'm not gonna leave you stuck. Excuse me, I'm not gonna leave you stuck, but this ain't for me. I'm not doing this shit. Because going back to what you said, trauma, she had a lot of trauma because of the shit she suffered. She transferred to me.
And it wasn't healed from her.
And 1 or 2 times I've seen myself transfer to my kids. And then when that became quickly apparent, and my wife also helped me identify that, I was like, I'm not doing this to them. I'm not doing this.
You were unconscious to
it. I wasn't unconscious because I was living it, but then I identified it. And that's part of everything, right? Identifying something.
What was an example, if you could tell me about the trauma, how you were putting it to your son? If you could share.
No, absolutely. Emotional dumping. Like, she was mad about whatever she was mad about. I came home, she's barking on me. She's on the first floor. I go upstairs, the second floor.
That's how my mom is.
The second floor, I go upstairs. My son is doing something. I start barking on him. And I became so apparent. I was like, this ain't even about him.
Yeah.
This because I want to let it out, right? I have this bad energy. I want to let. I was like, I can't do that to these guys, man. Like, and I have 3 boys. I was like, I'm not doing it, and I broke it. I broke the chain right there. I said, no, I'm not doing it. Man. I didn't know how I was gonna break it. I just knew this wasn't it. This was not happening, and not on my watch. And again, I mean, it sounds simple going back in retrospect, but doing it was hard because this is all you know is life.
Yeah.
Right.
You got to rewire your brain.
And then you feel guilty. That's the big one for me. Like, I'm always feeling guilty. Like, I don't want to leave nobody behind, but not everybody's coming with you. And that's the one thing I had to understand, right? Like, people say, like Tyler Perry says all the time, they're here for a season. That shit is hard when you're trying to do it, bro. Like, because you feel like you owe everybody.
I think I want to make a point to highlight that because a lot of people, it's like a buzzwordy thing now, buzzword to say, they all can't come with you. Mm-hmm. But no one talks about how difficult it is to leave your homies, the people you grew up with, played basketball with, did stupid things with. There comes a time in your life where the fork in the road is there, and you have to make a decision. Do I care about Luis Omar? Or do I care about me and all my boys?
Yeah, it becomes clear because the decision will be:
but it's hard.
Do we all drown, or do I just let myself go and keep going. Like, and it's not like I don't like them. It's just, that's not for me. Going back to my mother's situation, I love her, right? I'm 10 toes down for her, but I wasn't doing that. It became very clear to me at one moment in my life, and I was like, nah, this ain't it. And I didn't know what was it. I just knew this wasn't it, right? And I wasn't gonna do that to my boys growing up. So that's when I broke free and I moved out. And then she got sick, unfortunately, a few years later. We had a couple of really good years. I took her away for her 6th birthday, flew her first class for the first time in her life. Nice. Like, I did a lot of stuff that I felt like, you
paid her back.
I felt like she going back to immigrant mentality, she would have never.
She would have never,
Right. She was like, no, this is too much. Right. So I was like, yo, we're going. Well, it's all inclusive. There's no money involved. Just show up. Right. And that's how I did it. And then, obviously I have a very big family. And, unfortunately, cancer has been in my family's life. So you lose a cousin, and that shit kind of reframes you. You're like, yo, going back to like living that life. I'm like, no, I want to enjoy some of it. I have no problem with the hard work, right? Yeah. But I'm going back to that. I'm not going to just wait until I'm 70 to enjoy my life. I'm going to steal some happiness, some memories here and there. And that's kind of where I'm in the middle. Like people are like, well, if you save all your money, you don't buy this, and you drive a Honda, and I'm like, yeah, but where do I get some love? Like some happiness, some fun? When do I get, it could be taken. Like my mother, she retired, and 2 years later she had a stroke, and it was a wrap. That was the end of the story. Like, where was the happiness, right?
No, it makes, I think the word you're probably looking for is balance, because I think a lot of people successful people, they tend to not have a good balance, right?
Right.
And people that are not successful, they don't
forget successful because they become obsessed. And I've been a victim of that, yes.
And me as well. Yeah. And I always tell myself, when you get a moment to sit, just sit. And sometimes, me enjoying something, I feel guilty about it. Like, I told you off camera, I work out 6 days a week, running and gunning.
Yeah,
Sunday comes and I'm watching TV with my wife. I have me a little bit of tequila. I'm sipping the tequila. I'm watching the show. And then I feel guilty, like, oh man, why are you drinking this? But I enjoy it. So it's like finding that balance where you have to enjoy something and not feel guilty about enjoying it because you worked your ass off for it. But it's hard because going back to immigrant mentality, we're taught to just not enjoy anything and just work. And then people that don't have it like you will make you feel guilty for what you're spending your money on. And that's another double-edged sword. You know what I'm saying?
That's crazy. To add on to what you're saying, I'll say this, right? Because I'm 51, right? So I'm a little ahead of the game than most people.
You were my age, man. You look good.
What are you, 21? You're 21?
I'm 21.
So and I had a liquor store and nightclub. So I did a lot of that, right? I did a lot. I haven't drunk.
Busting moves early.
I haven't drunk 2 years, right? I haven't drunk in 2
God
years.
bless you.
My wife stopped drinking. I stopped drinking, whatever. I had my hips replaced. So, I've gone through a lot. And
you're 51.
I'm like, it happens.
Yeah.
And what I tell you is that everything is cyclical. You can't go 100% of the time. It will break.
It will break. Yeah.
So you have to learn how to cycle down.
Correct.
Cycle down. And everything is energy and flow state, right? So you can't be at your top all the time. It's just impossible.
It's impossible.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, for example, when I used to study 20 minutes at a time. 20 minutes intense and walk away. I couldn't do 4 or 5 hours of studying. It just didn't work for me.
You gotta take a break.
Right, but 20 minutes, because I would absorb it, and I'm an early guy studier. So I'm just using this to give people examples. You gotta find out what your strengths are. I'm good at early in the morning when everybody else is asleep. I feel like going back to being guilty, like, because when you're self-employed, the phone is on. You're going, right? You're of service, right? That's how you make money.
Yeah.
But you got to do it when nobody else is awake, and then you can be really zoned in. And going back to your Sunday, listen, I tell my wife all the time, I need a day to cycle down, right? Like,
decompress.
There's work, there's family, there's being a husband, there's being a father, there's being an uncle, there's being a lot, right? And you want to be there for everybody, but you can't pour from an empty cup, right? Yes. So you have to be cognizant and aware and try to figure out, I just want to veg for a minute because I have to repower. I have to recharge, whatever term you want to use, and be aware of that. Going back to what you're saying about the immigrant mentality, they don't have that because I'm not shitting on it, but this is what I've seen in my experience. They're not in a situation where they're making enough, right?
They live in scarcity.
Correct. Yeah. So there's a saying that thinking is a rich man's problem, right? So when I was young, I had no time to think. I was always on the go. So I made a little money, and then I would sit a little bit and think of things in a bigger scale. And not to say like I'm moving economies of the world, but everything is economies of scale. Like, you can think bigger if you have more. How do you get more? Well, you build more, right? But again, how? Going back to what I told you earlier, when I was young, I was like, yo, I gotta find a high-paying skill job, right? So real estate,
sales,
mortgages, right? Sales, and the margins in that were, to me, the vessel, right? So I got really good at that. I made money, but then I invested. I invest in tech apps, I invest in buildings, I invest in a few things, and I still do. I try. The hardest part for me has always been investing in people, because it's hard because they're not you, and
it's a crapshoot, man.
They shouldn't be you, but you tend to see things that maybe not there because you're looking for the best in people. And that's the hard part. That's the hard part.
Yeah, it's hard because, people are human beings, right? They're not going to show you the negative, bad stuff they're into.
Right.
In the beginning, they're going to show you all the good things.
It's like the first date.
Yeah,
right?
The first date, yeah. And then after a year or two in the trenches, then you start seeing, oh, this person is lazy.
Right.
Oh, he's a liar. Oh, he's stealing.
Right.
But you don't see that up front because they're trying to earn your good grace and your trust.
Yeah.
And then once you get the trust, if someone's a narcissistic douchebag, for example, they're going to use that against you to get what they want.
Correct.
And paint a different picture in front of you.
Manipulate you.
It's manipulation has run rampant today.
Absolutely.
It is, and then it's hard to find the good eggs like me and you, where it's like, listen, and to a certain extent, we're all kind of narcissistic in our own way, but you use it for good. You're not trying to be a douchebag. You're not trying to manipulate or hurt somebody. You're earning a living. You're doing things the right way. Sometimes, we might have to stretch a little bit of the truth for imagination, but not to the point where it's unethical or illegal. Right. But there's people out there that actually do that
all the time.
And it drives me crazy because, we're running our race and I'm doing things the right way. And, tell me if this happened to you. It happens to me a lot. Like, am I doing enough? Am I just too good of a person? Because this guy's a piece of crap and look how far he's gotten. Like, have you dealt with that? And how do you balance the scales of like integrity?
Right, so it becomes this: the metric is what you're measuring, right? So I know people personally that are billionaires, right? And we're cool. We've worked together. There was the one guy who wanted to buy my company and whatever, but he sees people more as, I want to say, commodities, right? They're not people, which is okay. But he's okay with that. He's not a bad person, but that's how he's gotten to where he's gone, right? Me, I kind of try to do that balance because I know guys are worth a lot of money, always stressed out, or always see themselves as a victim. Oh, he's trying to get me. I'm like, bro, ain't nobody trying to get you. Like, this is what it is. And sometimes, like, I tell a lot of my friends that are, let's just say they're well off. Sometimes they want to hang out. I'm like, let's do coffee, and they're like, all right, fuck it, because there's like being an owner. It's hard for people to relate to you because they see you on this pedestal, but they don't understand, like Patrick B. David talks about all the time. Can we make salary? Can we make payroll? You can't talk to them about that because these people work for you. No, they work for you. Right?
Yeah.
So you
can't vent to them.
You gotta have your crew of people in different industries or even similar industries that you can talk to and get objectivity from, because you got to find a group of peers. And
Masterminds.
You got to find that. And I'm not big on all the label. I'm just some good people that you could talk to, chop with. Like a couple of my most successful friends, I could text no matter what time. They're always up. Like they're always up when I'm up. Yo, what's up? And it's like 5 people on your hand, like 5 fingers, like 5 people that I know. Whatever time it is, I can hit them with a question and they'll answer me. So I'm happy to have found my tribe, but I had to become aware of that because going through like the whole liquor store, when I had friends that want to be business guys but didn't understand credit.
It doesn't work out.
Right. So, but I had to go through that because you couldn't tell me that. You couldn't tell me that. I was like, nah, I'm bringing my boys with me. No. Here's the plan. I have the plan. But the plan gets changed when people see you in a certain way and they feel they deserve it too. And I'm like, well, but it's my, I guaranteed everything. Like there's more exposure and risk to me. I have to pay this off. No. Of course you feel that way because you didn't expose shit and there's nothing at risk for you.
Yeah.
But when your shit is on the line, now you start looking at things objective.
Boom. Yeah.
Right.
And to your point about making the bad choices, there was this quote I heard the other day. It said, some guy asked a rich guy, oh, how did you become so rich? And he said 2 words, good choices. And he was like, how did you get to those good choices? 2 words.
Bad choices.
My man.
Yeah, absolutely. Man, listen, we all learn through our mistakes. And the truth of the matter is, if you're like, I can identify by myself, right? If you're stubborn and you believe what you believe, you have to take your bumps.
Yeah. You gotta get smacked around a little bit. For your skin to get callous to the pain.
Yeah, because I tell my son all the time, application beats theory, right? So they go to college and they're like, oh, this theory. I was like, all right, go try to do that. Go try to do that. Why? I want you to see. I don't think it's going to work, but let's see. Let's see if it works. Because me as a father telling them it doesn't work is not enough. They have to endure the pain. It doesn't have to be big pain, but they have to endure because then they go, oh, fuck, he was right.
Yeah,
and
you
it can't be us
that.
telling them, and they have to experience it for themselves.
Yeah, you can try to like, be a helicopter dad or mom all you want and protect your child, but at the end of the day, they got to go out there. They got to take their bumps and bruises. They might think they know more than you, but they don't. But let them hit their head a little bit, and they'll come back to you and say, you know what, Daddy, you're right.
A good friend of mine told me this. He owns a martial arts school, a very successful school, and he goes, the world is waiting for them, Mo. We could do what we could do. The world's gonna be. We can't walk with them for the rest of their lives, bro. He's like, the world is waiting, so you prepare them as best you can. If they fall, you'll be there. But what are you gonna do? You gonna live there? Like going back to what he said. I've never been in a helicopter. I'll be like, go ahead. You think that's a good idea? Do you think? Yeah, that has gotten me more success with my kids than me saying, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
I'm like, yo, if you think it's a good idea, go ahead, man.
But you know what's dope is that you never played it safe, right? And you went against the whole, it was like a big dichotomy. Like your mom was telling you, get a job with a pension, et cetera. And you went straight all the way the other side, but look where it's gotten you. So now, fast forward, your son is asking you for something, your sons, and you're like, do it. Because you know what that road looks like. You know what the other road is like. Oh no, like I don't want to, be stuck in a 9-to-5 or be restricted and be like, stuck.
The big thing to me is that when I was growing up, I didn't have anybody. So either I figured this shit out. My father died when I was 18.
Oh wow.
So
sorry, man.
There was nobody like, yo, what do you think? There was nobody. So I had to learn on my own.
Did he teach you before, he passed away? Was there anything you did learn from him? That
my pop's a good dude. He was everything you don't do. All right. That's what he taught me.
Same thing with my dad. It's like a Puerto Rican dad thing.
Yeah. Nah, he went to Vietnam. He got stuck on the dope and all that. And when he came back, he tried to be a dad. Out of 18 years, I got like 3-4 years of him, right? And I'm grateful for that. But it was what he was doing that I saw I didn't want to become that kind of helped me go the other way. Right?
I see what you mean. He teaches you something that, it stays with you to this day.
Yeah, absolutely.
And God bless him, because you know what? It's hard to kind of like, put this in frame, but our parents, man, they're just like us trying to figure it out. Yeah. They're not perfect. They got pain. They got demons. They got things they're dealing with. They don't have it perfect, but there's this conception that parents have to be this perfect image, like Jesus.
The scary part is, they are when you're a kid. When
you're a kid, they're superheroes.
Absolutely.
Too.
Mom is God.
Yeah.
But then there becomes that crazy part in life, which happened to me. Like I was like 30 something, where you surpass them. Yeah. Right, and you're putting them on. You're like, yo, Mom, this is what we should do. With your 401k, this is what.
Yeah.
I'm like, this
you sound like me and my wife.
I'm doing this. She's like, do it this way, do that. I was like, she, whatever. There's so many stories, but that's where I got to, and then you understand, right? And then you can understand why there was a divorce. You can understand as a man when my stepfather and my mom broke up. Like I understood, like we didn't speak for 3 or 4 years. And then me and him, because I was 20 son, I was like, they say in Spanish, un tigre. So like he was like, yo, this nigga's hot-headed, I'm not gonna deal with it. But eventually we got together and I was like, yo, I understand, man. I understand. She wasn't easy. I get it. I understand. He's like, I still love her. I was like, I get it. But I understand. So we good. So the funny thing with him is that he had 2 biological sons and 2 other stepchildren, but I was his son. And my stepfather was a white guy.
Wow.
And I was like, he was my son. I was bigger than him. He was 5'8", 5'9", little white guy. Yeah. And everybody does the double take. I'm 6'3", Spanish guy. They're like,
what the hell?
Okay. They're like, all right, whatever. And again, I only appreciate that now, right? Because now my youngest son is taller than me. I'm like, he's my son. They're like, damn, he's like, he looks just like he's bigger than you. And it's funny how the shit fucking comes full circle.
It comes full circle, man. It's crazy. Like you said earlier that nothing is cyclical, but something like this could be cyclical, where you're always. You see how it can come. La sangre llama. They say that in Spanish. The blood calls, right? And you as much as you try to change, there's still certain things that it reminds you, like, oh yeah, this is familiar. You know what I mean? This, yeah. But I want to ask you this question because it's something I struggle with my family. It's like it's weird because you don't want to just tell them what to do, but when you got all the game and you want to spread it, I mean, you want to spread it to anybody. You don't gatekeep, but you want to spread it to the people you love the most. Like, hey, listen, why don't you take 20% of what you make, put it in this, this fund or this, and you'll get 10% every year. There's a bunch of different,
methods.
Methods, yeah.
Safe, yeah.
And they look at you crazy.
Yeah.
Like, no, but I want to buy this new car, or I want to get this new watch, or I want to buy this chain. And I'm like, God, but you don't understand. That car is going to depreciate the minute you drive off the lot.
It goes back
so
to what It goes back to what I told you, bro.
Because we're from the same roots,
we could tell them what we want. Why they might take my advice a little bit. So I have a 30-year-old, 25-year-old, and 21-year-old, right? I was in different phases of my life. My 30-year-old remembers the struggle. He remembers out from the Bronx. He remembers all that. He's like, that shit's crazy. I tried to put my 30-year-old on to work with me in 2016, 2017. He wasn't mentally ready. So whatever, recently, he's like, yo, Dad, you think you can pick up some properties in PA? I can manage. Like, he's like, put me on. He's like, he's working somewhere. He hates it. He makes decent money, but he hates it. And I understand that. My 25-year-old works at Apple, and he just got married. And he's Mr. Conservative, right? He's Mr. No, I'm not going to do this.
Doesn't need a lot.
Right.
Happy with what he has.
Right. He's doing his thing, but he's slow and steady. My youngest, he's gotten the version of me that seen like the biggest results, right? Because he's seen me pay for my middle son's college. My sons have no student debt, man. Right? They have no student debt. And it's because of that. So when I talked to him, I started, when grandma got sick, he saw another version of me because I told him, and I was very, it was hard for me I was very honest. I wasn't like, oh, I'm so hurt. But he saw I was a little different, right? And then when he saw his grandmother a couple of times, he broke down, he understood. He was like, oh, she's not the same. And it wasn't something we talked about. He just started crying and stuff like that. So he understands. He's like, Dad, I understand you carrying that, right? Yeah. But he sees the way I move. He's in college and he went through COVID. He went like a year in high school in COVID. So I feel like he lost a year. So what I do with him, he works right now at a gym, but he goes with me to events. You'll see him. He's with me.
Okay.
I was like, we're selling books today, right? So I need you to man the books. We're going to go to a banking conference. I want you to meet all the guys. So all the investors are basically bigger banks than I sell to, right? But I make money. So they come, Omar, like, it's a big deal.
They hype,
And son todo judío. I'll say that on the camera, right? So my son is like, yo, I didn't know Jewish people were cool like that. I was like, son, because we make money together.
They make money together, yeah.
Green is the color everybody sees.
When you make money with somebody, they're your best friend.
When you go up high enough, I told them, green is the only color that matters. In business, green is the only color that matters. Whether it's Spanish, black, white, Jewish, it doesn't matter. If you're making money together, it's love. And so I took him to the New York State Real Estate Expo, and it blew his mind. He was like, all these people that they're not because I'm hanging out in the corner. These are guys I fund millions of dollars with, right? Yeah. So there's a respect.
It's a network.
And they're like, yo, you're his son? Oh man, let me put you on. Your father's this, your father. So hearing it from somebody else, it hit different.
Ding, ding, ding.
Right. Yeah. Hearing from me, going back to your question, you have to expose them. You have to expose them. There is no application beats theory every time, bro. So however you can expose them, like I want to work a couple of extra hours. All right, come work with me. We got to put these gates up. Yeah. Yo, there's no substitute for hard work. You didn't know what my hands are bleeding. Oh yeah, I hit my hand. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, it's like saying, don't put your hand on the stove. It's hot. Don't put your hand. Now I'm not going to put my hand on the stove, right? So it becomes that. You have to find a way to creatively expose them without them understanding. It's different than you just telling them. Like, this is my personal development that I've seen, tried and tested with my 3 test cases. You know what I mean?
And you're doing a great job. So
I try, bro. I try.
I mean, no, it's hard, right? But it's well deserved what you're doing. I can see just from the way you speak about your sons, and you're actually being a dad. Yeah, and that's something that obviously, I didn't have much growing up. I love my dad to death. He's still alive, but he wasn't present in my life like that. And same with you. So we never had male role models that were. And
look. This shit is so fucking important, right? Because. So I have kids that reach out to me because obviously, right, I'm on social media, so people know. But kids that went to high school with my son, wow, they reach out to me. Yo, Mr. Figueroa, do you have time to? Yeah. And I tell my son, why are you calling you that? I was like, because he don't got a dad,
man,
that he can talk
You're
to
a leader,
like that.
Dude.
I told him that. I was like, because he don't got a dad, so maybe or his dad is just not able to communicate with him. I was like, it's important. Like having a patriarch is really important. I think in the 90s. With the drugs and the crime and all that, there was this exodus, right? There was a lot of broken homes and, teenage fucking pregnancies. Like, I remember being in high school seeing 15-year-olds pregnant. I'm like, fuck is going on? Yeah. Like, yo, that shit's got a baby. It's just scary, right?
Yeah, it was scary.
But that's what we went through. That's what we went through. And now you're seeing almost totally 180. Do you notice that? They're having kids. I find that
they don't want kids.
Right. Well, right. They don't want kids first. And also,
Eric's smiling.
Back in the days, like, you know, it was like a thing to be with as many people as possible.
Yeah.
Now they latch onto one person and they kind of stay with that, which is cool. It's cool to me, but it's just 180 to what I grew up around.
Yeah,
right?
we were exposed to so much, man, that, you know, it's like, I mean, I'm thankful for it because it gave me that edge.
It makes you who you are, bro.
Made you who you are. But like the 180 you're talking about, it's totally different now. I mean, I heard there's a study that said that young men don't even want to have sex anymore.
Oh, wow.
They'd rather just play video games.
Okay.
Isn't that crazy?
That is crazy.
Like it's getting towards like an AI world where it's like maybe in 10 years they're gonna have sex with like putting up like Demolition Man. You ever seen Demolition Man?
You heard Gary Vee. He's talking about people gonna be marrying AI.
Yeah, it's gonna get crazy.
There's people marrying robots in China or something like that.
Dude, it's wild.
That's crazy. That's crazy.
But I mean, are we the old guys in the room now, or are we just still authentic and everybody else is fake?
No, we're just different because we've seen the technology advance. So we were here before it, and now we experienced and now we're like, what the fuck is this?
We have beepers. Imagine a 20-year-old with a beeper now. What the hell is this,
bro? Remember you had to go to the corner for a fucking phone call?
Yeah,
and you had to have
35 cents.
Yeah, that quarter.
Yeah.
Like,
or you had to call collect.
Yeah,
you know, it's like
it's different, man.
It's a whole nother. But that made us. It gave us this grit. It just
we had to be resourceful. We had to be resourceful. There's no resources. There's no resources, bro.
Yeah, we became so resourceful, and now it's like everyone's forced to be more stupid because the phone is just everything.
No,
like you can't. You
the
don't.
phone
You
is
don't have to think.
pacifying you, right?
Yeah,
right. So
yeah,
it's retarding your ability to get intelligent. But going back to where we come from. Look, we created hip hop. We're the generation.
Yeah,
so
absolutely.
Fuck everybody right now. We created hip hop, right? So think about that. Like, look at the shit we created because there was no like. I don't know if you remember. I don't know if you ever did this, but there were house parties in abandoned buildings.
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
Who the fuck does that now? Right?
You would be looking like a rural neighborhood. I'm like, now.
Like, chill, chill. Let me lock my doors.
Yeah,
but this is what we grew up around because there was nothing.
There was no. I remember the coolest thing of me being 13 years old was getting a fresh pair of D batteries, putting it in my boombox, and playing the newest, playing the newest DMX, Jay-Z, and walking around the hood. Like we thought we were so cool walking around blocks, but the music was
blasting the music. Like and now, somebody blasts music in my neighborhood, I'm calling the cops. Hey,
it's
disturbance.
It's such a different world, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I am thankful that there is growth with the young, you know, teens and the youth. But there's also this kind of like coddling. Like this kind of like real soft mentality.
Well, it goes back to what I tell you is you got to expose them. You got to bring them out.
Yeah,
I don't want to come out. Look, when I take my son out, I pay him per hour. Like it's a job. This is what I need. I give him, this is what I need.
ABC.
This is what I need. All right. So while we're doing that, this is what I need. Okay, cool. Whether it's taking photos or doing stories, whatever. Or we're selling books or we did a thing out on a boat and we're selling T-shirts and the boat was like this. But it's experience, bro. Like where do you get that? You're not gonna get that online. You're not gonna get that online. So and the different people and interacting with different cultures and you know what I'm saying? Like
application over theory, like you said,
all day. So that is the way to change it. Like when I took him to Greenwich Village, I was like, yo, back in the day, man. I remember. I don't know if you ever been. You probably did.
Yeah, I heard Greenwich.
Well, no, the guys like on the corner at Washington Square Park, smoke. Like when do you remember that? Like
nickel bags.
Yeah, you walking by like, yo, what is this? Now, but now you in the city, you smell that shit like it's regular.
Like nothing. It's regular.
People are coming to fucking job interviews smelling like
high.
That.
Yeah, it's
fuck is that? Why did I get the job? Bro, you're high.
It's the enabling mentality though.
Crazy.
I'm telling you, it's like everything now is accepted. You have to accept that I'm this, I'm that, and you can't tell me I'm wrong.
This became the old man,
the generational podcast.
The old man podcast.
You know why? Because we have to vent somewhere, right? Because I deal with it, man. Yeah. And it's like it's crazy. I'm like, guys, use your brains. I get it, and I respect everybody, but there's a line where it's like, guys, take a little bit from the old and the new. Mm-hmm. Put it in a pot. Mm-hmm. That's how I always been. Mm-hmm. My OGs, the people I grew up looking up to, I soaked in the game, but I also spit out the bones.
Yeah.
I didn't do everything they told me to do, but I took the good. And then I went to, people that are younger than me. You know what? That's actually a good concept. I'm going to use that.
Well, going back to what I was telling you, like, I feel like I've become an OG where these kids are asking me.
Your unc.
And it's easy. Yeah, I'm past the unc. I'm OG. Unc's a 30, I believe. I heard. I'm not even sure with that.
I'm unc right now. I'm in the unc
I'm
age.
OG. So when the kids that come asking me questions, I'm giving objective opinions because they're my sons. But I'm sorry, they're not my sons. But then my sons asked me, and I'm like, yo, bro, like, your boy asked me.
Mm-hmm.
One of my sons, I learned about credit on YouTube. I was like, yo, but I'm like a credit master. Why wouldn't you ask? Oh, dad, I didn't think about it. I'm like, then what are you thinking about, bro? Like, everybody comes to me to learn how to qualify, negotiate real estate. Like, what are you doing? We're too close. We're too close. We're too accessible. And then that goes back to even in business. Like, you can't be accessible to everybody, especially with social media. Everybody hitting you up for something, right?
Always something.
Yeah. And everybody wants a sponsorship.
Yeah, everybody was
like, who is this?
Yeah, give me $1,000 and I'll put you. It's always something, man.
Yes,
but getting back to you being your father to your boys, I think, and I heard Kevin Hart say this in an interview once. And it's really hard with successful people is you have to manufacture struggle. And like you paying him by the hour to go help you sell books or learn real estate. Even though you're paying him, you're still manufacturing some type of struggle for him to understand. Okay, this is how things work. You're not just like Toma.
No.
You're you're gonna earn.
No.
Even though that's successful.
Toma is free Wi-Fi, free room, free bathroom, free clothes. That's Toma. You want to make money? All right. So now we talking my business. This is what I need. I need value. I want to pay you. This is how we doing it. Okay, cool. And then he's like, all right. He understands because also you have to expose them to jobs without you, right? They work at wherever they work at and they get treated however they get treated and they might not like it. So I'm like, if you don't like it, then you have to change the whole trajectory of the way you're living so you don't have to endure that. But you don't do that by just saying, I don't want to do that. You got to build yourself up into something. So it's going back to application being theory all the time, but they have to take their bumps. And you're not gonna be with them all the time. And you gotta be like, I got it, check it out. Nice. We had him at the pools, the Yonkers pools.
Yeah.
He wasn't working, whatever. My youngest, like 3 years ago. So a friend of ours runs all the parks. So she's like, yo, let's get him lifeguard certified. I'll get him to work. I was like, bet.
Let's do it.
Easy job, right? Yeah. Get him to the pools. One day I go pick him up and he's laughing. And he's like, yo, dad, I was at the pool and this guy pulled out a gun because we didn't let him in the pool.
Whoa.
So I was like, yeah, you out of here. Like he thought it was funny. I was like, it's funny till it's not.
It's not.
It's not right.
When it gets real, it gets real.
And no offense, but this is Yonkers. Yonkers is like the Bronx of Westchester. So I was like, all right, we out of here. So I got him a job at I'm not gonna say where, but at a nice gym. People pay $400 a month to get there. So it's a whole different thing, right? So now
the whole different experience.
The issue is elitism. He's like, Dad, these kids, they think that. But he went from there to there and he's paying attention. He understands. And that's how I think I've been able to teach him as much.
No, you did beautiful thing. I mean, first of all, you notice the danger, but now you're exposing him to another. Even though, he's complaining about the elitism, but it's also a new world that he's exposed to with successful people.
Yes,
and you got to be around. You're around 9 losers, you're the 10th.
Yes,
you're around 9 winners, you're the 10 winner. So it's the same. It's the same theory all around. Put them around. I've always been a fan of this. Put me in the room. I might not know much, but you put me in the room and my hustle and my motivation will get me to where I need to be at. But I got to be in the right room.
Yeah, and you got to be the poorest guy in the room.
Yeah.
The dumbest guy in the room. That's how you learn.
That's how you learn.
You can't be the guy everybody comes to.
Yeah.
Unless you're going there for that specific reason to teach.
Yeah, correct.
But if you're trying to grow, going back to struggling, right? You got to struggle these concepts. Oh shit, that $10 million is so far away. But then you start doing things and you're like, oh, if I do this and I do this and I can do that. And it becomes possible because why? You're talking to people that it's possible. They're doing it all the time. Yeah. It becomes unlocking your belief, right? Unconscious bias and all those theories that you hear about right now. People, not me, imposter syndrome. All that is insecurity based on the shit that's been impressed on us as children, as we've come up and where we've come up. Like going to NYU, I went to school with rich people, but I had to figure out how the fuck I'm paying for the train to get back home because I lived in the Bronx. I couldn't pay for living in the dorms. Yeah. So there's a realism to that. So luckily I was in a place where people had big aspirations that allowed me to think that way.
And stealing a quote that you live by, you can't achieve what you don't conceive.
You can't.
That's Napoleon Hill.
That's Napoleon Hill.
But but it's also the fact that you had to actually believe it,
right?
And then it became
first you had to see it. Like, is that possible?
Yeah.
And then you see it's possible.
This?
Yeah.
Oh wow, these Really? Okay. Like, and sometimes you'll still feel that imposter syndrome. Like, I know I'll feel it, but then I'll shake it off right away. I'm like, damn, I just spent X amount of dollars on this. Whoa, this is crazy. I never thought. But then I'm like, no, but this is normal. This is the right thing to do. You know, I went through that recently with the podcast. And, you know, when the podcast grows, there's business behind it. You got to pay lawyers. You got to get your all your affairs in order. And I'm seeing these big numbers and I'm like, oh, this is scary. But it's good. It's a good thing because I'm breaking boundaries.
You're growing.
And when I started this in 2021, I pictured myself like being a podcaster, talking to people that are amazing, that inspire me. And it was in a basement at a friend's house. And now fast forward to now, whoa,
Look where
studio,
you're at.
speaking to a very successful entrepreneur. Like I conceived it here.
Yeah.
And then now I'm living it here.
Yeah, the
you know what I mean?
vision.
So I really relate to that with you is that you got to really believe and the little voice inside you that's trying to make you feel doubt, you got to put it away.
Yeah.
Because we all have that.
Yeah.
It's all in us. It's just shut up. Just
The most successful people just have the one different part that most people don't have. And it's that they're going to go no matter what. They're going to go. It is, I got into the business in 05 or 06 before the meltdown. People were like, yo, you should get out of that. I was like, nah, because this is my thinking. I'm like, I made 100,000 in 08, which was the shittiest time, right? And I'm like, yo, if I could do this here now at the worst time, when it turns, I'm gonna be up. And there's more people, mad people leaving. Even this happened right after COVID. There was an exodus of the marketplace because it was so easy.
Real. Yeah,
it was so easy
when it was making it. Was,
right.
Yeah.
When shit gets hard, people trying to like. To me, it was just another day at the office. I was like, oh, it's dope. There's more opportunity for people. People can like vertically climb because they can qualify for more because interest rates are low. But eventually, it'll die out. I wasn't waiting for it, but I knew it would happen. And here I am. Right. Like so here now. What you're going to see in our industry with real estate and lending is that you can see consolidations happen. You can see a lot of buyouts, people buying each other because some people are on their last wind, right? But you got to plan for those times. You got to be ready, and you got to know, but you got to have the stomach for it, right? You got to know it's not going to be easy.
Yeah, and you took the words out of my mouth because I wanted to ask you this because I'm so interested in what you do. Like, how do you manage the stress of lending and you know the where we are right now today in real estate? Like it's a lot. Like you're taking money here, putting it there. Like give me a 360 view of what you do and how you manage that stress.
How do I manage stress? Working out?
Because I've
going to the therapist.
Yeah, because me and my wife has spoke about doing what you're doing, and she's like, "Babe, I don't know if you can handle this because you go crazy and you go 0 to 100, and I'll start." I'll just start thinking too much, and then I blow up mentally.
Well, the way I tell my wife is now working with me. She's been working with me 4 or 5 years now. Now we're at this point in our careers together. She's telling me you have to develop the real estate part more, and because she's part of it. And I'm like, okay, bet. So I'm putting energies towards that. And now we start talking about stuff, and like I have 20 years. Right, of actively practicing this. Yeah, I've been not a beast, but I have experience because it's not like I got in and I was doing this part time. No, this is all I did, right? Yeah. So I can give her objectivity. So we have like 5 or 6 deals right now that kind of have like issues. To the normal person, they would seem like extreme, like this is out of control. To me, I'm like, no, we just got to do this and this.
OG.
And let's do it. And even if I'm not doing it, I can tell the person who's supposed to do it, yo, you should do this. Like in an indirect way. So experience, trying to keep a level head, and always work with urgency. What I mean by that is that,
I like that. Yeah,
what happens with people when they make some money, and I've been a victim of this, and I'm talking to myself at this time, where like you have a really good run, and then you feel like you take your foot off. You could take a 3-day, 4-day vacation, but get back to it. Now, if we want to be totally transparent, if you have $1 million liquid here, and I can give you the breakdown, then you could chill and be like, yo, I'm taking off 3 months. But if you're not there, and this is me talking to myself, until I have numbers that I have to hit, right? When I hit those numbers, then maybe I'll take a 2-weeker.
Yes.
And then come back. But you have to give yourself hard numbers because if not, and being self-employed, man, is the gift and the curse, right? Because you become victim to your own perception, right? You're like, yo, I'm good. I'm not. Nah, bro, because what happened with me is I ascended, I started buying shit. I bought a bigger house, nicer cars, an apartment building, invested here. What happens is your burn rate goes up. Now we're talking business shit, right? Burn rate is how much money you need every month to live to just pay to pay your shit, right? So that shit starts growing. So your emergency fund has to grow. Then I got hit with the crazy event with my mother and her being, and then my head was all, I can say this now. In the moment, I couldn't tell you this. I just, I'm still going, but I'm thinking I'm going 150%. I'm really doing 15% because even tying my shoes took a lot of effort because I was so depressed, right?
Man, you were just
right.
Yeah,
so I was,
yeah.
but in the moment, you can't tell me that. I'm like, yo, I'm doing it. I'm fine, and I was able to maintain. But then there comes a point when she finally expired, right? Where I was able, like, I kind of like think about it this way: your nervous system is we're sending signals through your body, right? If you're always like stressed the fuck out, you're like at a hyper mode, right? Like, so
high level cortisol.
Right, you're like, and then finally when it kind of settles, and that doesn't mean the day after, it might mean 6 months, it might be a year later, right? You're like, oh. Then you start looking around, you're like, oh shit, I fucked up a little bit, right? So now you got to get back to it.
Get back to it, yeah.
It's that balance. You got to give yourself grace, but hold yourself accountable. Always work with urgency because you got to be prepared for the what if.
Yes. You know, Rainy, taxes, another big thing. People that come from our community, they don't think about things like taxes. Like I learned it the hard way when I was
when the IRS came.
Yeah, I was like, wait a minute, hold on.
How much? You open it up?
Yeah, because I was doing it the hood way, and I'm like, no, thanks to advisement, right? Okay. Thanks to people that put you in the right rooms. Right. You need an S corp. You need a CPA.
To shield your stuff. Yeah.
I was just writing off anything. Like, oh yeah, tranquilito.
My Nikes.
But yeah. But when you learn those, again, my father, he was a street hustler, man. He didn't. Only thing he knew was the streets.
But going back to education, you educate yourself. Right? Yeah. And as you get more, you have to educate yourself more. It's forever. It's forever.
And the one thing, right? And I don't know if it's pride or maybe because we're Spanish or from where we come from. It's so hard. And now it's easy for me. But in the beginning, it was so hard for me to be like, I don't know. I need help. It was so hard to say those 6 words because I felt inferior. I'm like, wait, but I'm making 6 figures. I don't need help.
Bro,
that's the ego. It's like
the hardest words I ever had to say, I'm doing the best I can.
Yeah.
That's me talking to my therapist. That's me talking to my wife one time. Because when I was dealing with my mom, I'm still paying for college. I still got to be a husband. I still got to be in whatever shape. I'm not saying I was the best. But I had to try to be present. And you have the pressure to perform is a real thing.
If
you really take pride in who you are, the pressure to perform is real.
And the walls can cave in.
And sometimes you got to give yourself grace, right? Yeah. And that's the hard part. And what I mean by that is not let yourself slide every fucking day, right? Be real. But once in a while, be like, yo, I just need to not think today. Or not touch my phone, or just watch TV or the NBA, like whatever escapism there is, to kind of let your mind kind of wind down, going back to like your nervous system being so wound up, because you start making bad decisions. Every little thing's a big thing, and it perpetuates a bad cycle.
Yeah, no, I agree. What's helped me recently, and I wish I had more time to do it, but it's just it's an event, but it's given me such a new like escape. I got my firearm license and I go shooting. Yeah, and it is the most...
Shooting's fun.
Listen, it's loud, it's scary, but you're locked in. And when you're locked into a target and you're trying your hardest to, I'll say, I'm going to go D this time. Okay, now I'm going to go E. Now I'm going to go center. And you can't think about your mortgage payment. You can't think about clients. You can't think about your kids. You can't think about stress. You're so locked in to what you're doing at that very exact moment. And you're becoming better at a skill you don't know much about. So that recently has been like an anchor for me as well as the gym to like give me some type of balance and stability and just turn everything off.
Yes.
I can't be on my phone.
Yes.
I can't be answering. I got to be locked in, eyes, ears on, shooting a target.
And that's therapeutic for people that are always thinking, right? Yeah.
Yeah, because I think high performers like us, we get so caught up in the everyday rigmarole that we forget that you need time for yourself. And when you get time away, Leonardo da Vinci said this, I take time off because it gives me the idea that I need to get my next masterpiece. But if I don't do that, I'm wound up and I don't even want to create art. So he was notoriously known for just taking time off, but he would come back with this masterpiece.
Crazy,
So it's the same thing with us. Like I'll do that on vacation, like 3 or 4 days, and I'm just at the pool, have a nice drink in my hand, just relaxing with my wife, and ideas will just...
Right.
I'm like, whoa, where did this come from? Or it'll happen at the gym. Yeah. Where I'm in the middle of a set. I'm like, that's what I have to tell Eric. Things like that, just, it happens when you're in that flow state of not working, but just being with yourself. You know what I mean? What do you do besides the gym that gives you that flow state?
Playing
Video game?
No, playing competitive. No, I'm saying it.
You're mad competitive,
My wife's
bro.
gonna laugh. My wife's gonna laugh right now. Playing full court basketball at 51 at 6 a.m. against
love
20-year-olds. Yeah,
Come on.
Yeah, like there's a
Yo,
from 20
like
to
Adam
50-year-olds, and but full court.
But
not,
y'all go
not
hard.
half court. Right.
Damn.
I come back destroyed. But to me, is nothing more pure because the truth of the matter is when I get in the lines. It's competition at its highest level, but it's nothing, and you can only talk to somebody who competes because somebody watching will never understand.
They'll understand that.
They'll never understand me cursing at you in the court and afterwards giving you a hug because it's all good because it has nothing to do with you. It has everything to do with myself trying to be the best at whatever I'm trying to do.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Yeah. And competition, man, look, it's hard for people, like so many people are in the stands, not in the arena. And it's hard for me to even relate sometimes to people that have never done any type of competing because it's never about the person you're competing against. It's about you trying to be the best
that you
guy
could be.
at that moment, that day, right?
1,000%.
Yeah, and so that's the part. Like basketball, even in business, like I'll compete with other some of my friends in business. What'd you do this month? Anything to keep you sharp because I believe that competition is needed for masculine energy, right? And again, if used constructively, right? Like
100%.
if you beat me, glad you beat me, you buying lunch or dinner. Whatever, great, because you make more money. So it makes sense, right?
Exactly, yep.
But other guys, oh, fuck you. It has nothing to do with
It
that.
has nothing with hatred.
Right?
It's all about self-improvement.
And you still won, right? If you did, I'm just using a number right now. If you did 100,000 for the month and usually do 30, you up, bro.
You up,
And if your boy did 150, he beat you, but you still tripled your number. So how'd you not win? Right? How'd you not win? But it becomes that thought process that people kind of struggle with because they're like, what's he doing? It doesn't matter. Going back to what you said before, you're running your own race. At the end of the day, this is your movie. You're the fucking star.
Yeah.
And you get to do it the way you want to do
Absolutely,
it. Right?
man.
As long as you love yourself.
And when things get too rigid, like you just said, oh, this guy made 30, I only made 10 or whatever. Lean on gratitude. Lean on the fact that look where I was when I was 10 years old versus where I am today. And look at that growth of, I heard a pastor say this, your feet are forward and they can't fully do a 180 to turn
to go backwards. Yeah.
But your neck can. So it's built for you to look back and see where you came from. But your feet are always forward because you know where you're going next.
I like that. Yeah.
You know what I mean? So that's always stayed with me because I'm like, yeah, you're right. I appreciate the journey of what I've been through, my mistakes, my triumphs, my not so great moments, my amazing moments. But I'm thankful for it all because it got me to where I'm at today. And gratitude is so important. It's embedded in that because without gratitude, you can make $1 billion, $1 zillion a year and you won't be happy. You can't chase money for so long because it's not going to fulfill you.
Right.
It's the things you have in your life that you've, gotten from, your hard work and your family. That's what kind of keeps you balanced. That's your real anchor. You know what I mean? And it gives you that motivation to go out there and really achieve your highest potential.
I'm gonna go. I'm gonna just go a little deeper on that with you, right?
Yeah.
It's about self-awareness, which you seem to have, right? But it's also about self-love. So many people, and I've seen this. Family members have been told they're not shit by their parents or their friend, and they believe that they're not shit. And I'm like, no, you're great. You're great. You got to love you. You can't love somebody else if you don't love you.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like for all my imperfections and shit, like I love me because at the end of the day, I'm gonna die by myself anyway, right? Like
you're right.
I gotta love myself.
Yeah,
so I think, especially in our culture, it's not expressed enough, right? Stoicism, this, that. These are all versions, and I resonate with a lot of them, if not all of them. But I also take it with a grain of salt, where I know that it's good for this, but not that.
Correct.
Right? It's good for this, and you can't be stoic and be married for 20 years and be like, I'm only gonna complain because the shit's gonna build up in you. It's gonna manifest some way, shape, or form, which is not positive.
Correct.
You gotta know how to self-regulate. Emotional deregulation is a therapy concept, right? It's a big thing, especially for Latinos, right? Because there's so much suppressed, right? And they make you feel guilty about this and this and this and that, and then you're like, you don't know where the fuck your head is on straight.
It's true.
So I mean, that's culture specific because it's the one I know, the one I grew up with. But also, I've been in different cultures and they're different. They're and that's cool. There's no shot at anybody, but everybody has their shit.
Everybody, you took me to my therapy sessions where sometimes I'll go in there and I'll tell my therapist, hey, I'm this, that, and the third. Okay, wait a minute. All right, who's telling you this? And then you ponder, and you're like, yeah, my dad.
Where'd that come from?
Yeah. So it's all connected to something. And when you're able, I always say therapy is amazing, but it gives you a backpack of tools so that when you're in the real life, in the real world, and something hits you, you're able to, wait a minute, let's just take a breather here. Where is this coming from? Why am I feeling this feeling? And what can I do to not feel like this? I told you off camera, I was 330 pounds at one point.
That's big.
And there's been a time, oh man, a nice Big Mac would be good right now. But wait a minute, where is it? You're not even that hungry. But why are you feeling this? Okay, this client upset you. You equate food to pain because when you were bad, your mom would hit you and then she will give you food as I'm sorry.
Like a reward, right?
A reward.
Right,
and then when you did really good, okay, here's a Big Mac again.
Right.
So I learned to use food as a reward or as a pain covering. And then when this is all happening in 10 seconds in my brain at a red light. And I'm like, no.
Well, God bless that you have the ability to kind of work through that.
Yeah.
Most of us don't.
But that's the tool. That's the backpack of the tools that I think therapy provides for people, that it's like, okay, this feels sucky. Let me look at it. Let me see what's going on and let me adjust. Self-awareness. Let me get back to neutral.
Yeah.
Some people don't know how to self-regulate that, like you said. I know it's like, this is going to be a hot take, but I don't believe in bipolar. I believe that you just don't know how to regulate your emotions. I feel like we all have that, where we can get, men in particular, we get very aggressive, right? Aggressive patients. We get very aggressive and we want to go, you got to self-regulate.
Yeah.
Don't curse that person out.
Right.
Think about it. But some people just feel good to be douchey and just say it. Who cares?
And some people are good in their ignorance. They just don't give a fuck. They don't want to, and
they thrive in it.
The part that becomes tricky is that you have a guy or a girl who is trying to evolve and and I'll say it this way, to set a higher standard of living, right? Because that's what it is, right?
Yeah.
You're trying to be better, right? Not just for you, but for everybody, anybody you interact with, right?
Yeah.
Like you want to be a better version of you. Some guys and girls are stuck in their shit and they're like, oh, that's soft. Like, it's not soft, bro. It's just that you got to understand that. Like, I had a conversation. They're like, oh, you code switch. I'm like, I'm not code switching. I'm speaking to a fucking doctor, you idiot.
Yeah.
Right? And you don't know what hematoma means.
Yeah.
Right? So like, bro, I'm translating for you. He's like, oh, because I have to speak to him so that I can translate it for you so you can understand.
Correct.
Why? Because you didn't get the education, bro. And that's not my fault. That's not my fault. I asked my son the other day, do you know what this is? He goes, no. I explained it to him because I was laughing at something. He goes, why would I know that? I was like, for the sake of knowing it. I was like, because if you walk in a room, I remember I was very young. So I've always been in like the gifted classes, right? And I walked in to this conversation and they were talking about euthanasia, right? Assisting people to kill themselves. I didn't know what they were saying. I thought they were like young kids in Asia. Yeah. And I felt retarded.
Euthanasia.
Right? And I felt retarded. And I was like 8, 9, but that was one of the pivotal points in my life. I was like, yo, I'm never gonna feel like that again. Cause I felt stupid. Right. And so I took action. I was like, I'm gonna learn. Why? Because I wanna know. I wanna know for the sake of knowing. Right? Because I don't want something to come at me so foreign that I don't even know how to come to grips with it. When my mother got sick, I became almost a doctor in vascular dementia. Like I had to, because now I had to understand it because I'm dealing with it. I'm the one, I'm the caretaker, I'm the patriarch, I'm the financial guy. Medicaid didn't kick in. I blew $100,000 taking care of it. It is what it is, bro. I'm not crying nobody. It was nobody else. Going back to nobody behind me, it was me. So I gotta understand this. Why? Because as a son, I'm suffering because she's saying wild shit and I don't know what the fuck this means. And I'm like, what's happening, right? So you gotta process it.
You gotta process it.
But going back to, educating yourself and growing because you have to figure this out. There's nobody else who can figure it out. These are extreme cases of what I had to do. But I say that and I share it on your podcast so that people understand that that's what they have to do. God forbid they're in that situation. There's nobody coming to save you, bro. You got to figure this shit out. You got to figure this shit out for the sake of everybody because I'm the patriarch of my family. So I have my sons, my wife, my sister, my nephew. Like they're behind me and I have to protect them, right? So if it means shielding them from what's happening because I don't know what's happening. So I got to kind of, before I can translate it, going back to that story, I got to figure it out, right? Yeah. So it just becomes that if you take yourself seriously, this is the they say heavy is the heavy
Heavy
is
is
the
the
head.
crown, yeah.
Yeah, heavy is the crown to wear, right?
Yeah.
So that's what it is, man. So being an entrepreneur is wearing a heavy crown. It has its benefits. It has its retractions, but the retractions are because they take more work. But at the end of the day, if you want to live your life on your own terms, this is what it's supposed to be.
This is what it's supposed to be. It's not going to be all fun and,
Correct.
and cool
well,
either.
I say that to say this, that people think, oh, but you rich. It doesn't matter if you're rich. It doesn't, because to keep it, like unless you're Jeff Bezos and you're like completely off the planet with money, you could lose it. And you could be where you started, right? So it's an active thing.
It's an active thing, and having community and having people around you that understand your lifestyle. Like I'll give you a perfect example. Yesterday I'm going to dinner with my wife and I said to myself, I'm gonna have a nice conversation with her on the way there. I get a phone call. Hey, need a studio book for Friday. So now I'm on the phone on three-way with my guy. Hey, this guy needs a studio for Monday. Can you take care of him? And then a client texts me, hey, can you send me these styles here? And I think I want to move forward and finalize. When are you available to meet? So now it went from a peaceful drive to like two or three conversations. Right. And I have to get out of the mode of doing this, but because I love my wife. She's so amazing, understanding. But I always say, baby, I'm sorry. And she's like, babe, don't say sorry. Mm-hmm. I understand. Mm-hmm. Do what you got to do.
Does she work?
I'm here. Yeah, she works.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. But I always say is like she works 9 to 5, but she has an entrepreneur mentality. Okay. It's so weird. Okay. And I try to tell her all the time, like she's gonna write a book and she's an artist and she does all these amazing things, but she gets it. Mm. Like normally in a situation like mine, the wife that works a regular job is like, why are you not with me? What's going on? Right. How come we haven't gone here?
Well, if she understands
what she's trying to build, right? Man. Yeah, so community, right? The point I was making is that when you have people around you that understand what you're trying to do, especially your wife, oh my God, the sky it's limitless. It's limitless.
That's your counterpart in most things, right? And that's the person that they're going to see the version of yourself when everything is down. Yeah. Like the rest of the world sees, the polished image, right? Yeah. When you're like, ugh. Like when I was going through that with my mom, like she saw a version of me that she was aware of, and she played her position. But I look at it now and I'm like, damn, that shit must be hard, because I was like not there. I was like kind of like, I don't know, kind of like going through the motions, but not being there,
not being present. With those emotions. Yeah. Now, like you said, 6 months later, you look back, geez, I was a wreck. Yeah, but even something like that, able to, see that and be aware, self-awareness. Mm-hmm. It just shows me how mentally capable you are to handle whatever life throws at you.
There's no other choice, bro.
There's no other choice. Yeah. You got to deal with it, right?
Either we're gonna lay down and die, or we're gonna go at it.
Yeah, I'm going down with a fight.
There you go. Yeah.
I have some mastermind questions I ask everybody that comes on. I want to share them with you.
Let's do it.
So these are just quick thoughts.
All right. So quick answers.
Quick answer. If you have a story that resonates with you that you want to share, feel free to share it. Mm-hmm. What book have you read besides your book that you wrote that inspired you the most?
Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill. Everybody should fucking read that book.
Yes, that's everybody should read it. My wife put me on.
It's the greatest starting point to anything.
Yep, you're the second person on this show that said that, man. Okay. And it was Big D.
Okay.
What person in your life has brought you the most influence?
The most influence? My mother, her work ethic severely influenced the way I attack everything. I just took her work ethic and applied it to higher paying things. Yes. And that's how I ended up where I'm at now.
Beautiful answer, man. Yeah. What keeps you driven in life?
Taking care of others. Whether it's like recently, there was this whole thing with the SNAP benefits, right? So I'm driving to the office and I see people in the hood like around the block waiting for pantries to open. And my thought was like, I wish I had $1 million right now.
I know.
I'll go to the supermarket, be like, everybody, $500, everybody just get whatever you want. Like, that's what drives me. Besides, obviously you want your kids, your wife, your immediates, but my thing is bigger, like
philanthropy.
I want to do, I don't want people to feel that pain that I felt when I was a kid.
Yeah, and it hurts because you see that and you know what that feels like. And the fact that they're your people and you can't do nothing immediate right now, it stings. Yeah. So that's a big,
so that drives
that's
me.
A great drive. Yeah, that's an amazing answer, man. What's your lightest and darkest moment in life?
Lightest moment in life? Well, darkest moment, obviously, when I had it with my mom for the 7 years, right? Yeah. That was really rough on me. Especially now seeing it in retrospect, it's easier to see. Like they say, hindsight's 20/20. It was very easy. During it, couldn't do it. I have a weird behavior or personality where I see the good in everything.
Optimist.
Yeah.
That's a good trait.
So I'm always light. You know, even with my mom passing, right? The 7 years I had, most people be like, oh, that's crazy. Oh, you endured 7 years. Absolutely, I endured 7 years. But I had the ability to say everything I wanted to say to my mother. Like most people lose somebody quick, right?
And they're like, I have regrets. I didn't spend enough time. I didn't say this.
No, I was 10 toes down for 7 years. So I feel really good about that. So it could be light. But, you know, obviously your kid's being born, just meeting somebody that loves you 20-something years. My wife, I was like, that's fucking great. That's like awesome. People look for that, right?
Yeah, that's a blessing. That's a blessing. It's one of those few things that when you're married, sometimes you can take it for granted and you got to readjust because there's people that wish they had it.
I'll just say this. I never saw a successful marriage.
Me either.
Right? Yeah. And I don't claim that mine is super successful. I just say that we work at it, right?
Yeah,
so,
well, it's a constant work.
Yeah.
You know, it's never done. Right. There's never no polishedness to it. Like,
right.
There's always work to be done in marriage.
Yeah.
You got to treat it like that.
Well, most people want to walk away quick when it gets hard. And I'm like, nah, yo, this is my person. Like I told you the other day, I was like, you know, you're my person. Like, this is it.
This is it. We're done.
So we're here. So what are we doing? And
we got to figure it out.
Yeah. So in a good way. I don't want people to feel like I have her like chained up in a room.
No. But it's real though. Yeah. See, these are the conversations I beg to have because it's like, guys, stop it with the whole like, you know, perfect, picture perfect, you know, relationship, marriage. No, we go through some, when I see somebody that's married 40, 50 years, I'm like, how?
Yeah.
Tell me, sit down, have some coffee.
Yeah.
Tell me about your lightest and darkest moment because that inspires me.
One of my clients asked me, when did you know? And I told him, I knew because the things that I thought made me a bad person, things that I didn't like about myself, she didn't have. And there becomes a part when you're with somebody so long, you start projecting shit, and then you gotta be aware.
Super aware,
bro. What the fuck you doing? Like, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because like you're in your own shit, and it's hard to see things clearly sometimes. Yeah. So I told him like when I stopped projecting and I saw it for what it was, I knew. And I told him on another note, because you know he's a brother like me. He's like, you know, he don't want to get hurt. I was like, yo, bro, that's part of it. If it's not for you, it's not for you, and it's okay, bro. It's okay. It's a part of the path in your life. Keep walking, and you'll be all right.
100%, brother. I got 2 more for you. What is the next? I'm sorry, 3 more for you. Have you ever had any vices, and how did you overcome them?
No, because my father was, he was an addict. So I saw what that did. And my uncles that both passed away were fucking alcoholics. Like they're all fucking messes. So
Puerto Rican
it was very in front of me what goes like, wrong.
Whoa,
I was like, that's not for me. That's not for me. Yeah.
Gotcha, brother. What does the next level of success in your life look like?
To see where my boys go.
That's so cool. Yeah, 3 sons.
Yeah, see where they go. Like we're in a really good space where like they come to me for advice, and I'm not too on top. I'm like, yo, I think you should try this, but you know, if you want to, you know, it's always with if you want to,
right? Don't push it on them,
right? And if you know, sometimes they'll do it, sometimes not, but usually the greatest part will always be when your kids fucking quote something you said to them back to you. You'll be like, oh shit, I did something right, you know. So that's
like bing,
yeah. Validation, baby, validation. Yeah.
Last question before I get you out of here, brother. What's the last, and this always gets everybody, so I'm preparing you.
Okay.
What's the last thing you purchased that changed your life?
The last thing I purchased that changed my life in a significant way was the house we bought 5 years ago. The reason why is that all my life I was in the Bronx. We moved to Westchester, and there's no Latinos where I live. Just say there's other ethnicities, but
the dope flex.
My it wasn't a flex. My right neighbor is a German scientist. My left neighbor is African stock trader. No Spanish people, not in a bad thing, but the thing is that you don't feel like you belong, right?
Yeah.
So one day I drive up to the deli. It's not a bodega, it's a deli. And it has like
a delicatessen.
Where you could buy plants. It's they call it a market. That's what they call it.
A botanical market.
Yeah, right.
Gotcha,
the tree,
gotcha.
You know, plants cost like $150. It's like, and I see Joe Torre.
Come on.
Yeah, Joe Torre's there getting coffee.
Joe Torre.
So I'm like, yo, do I belong here? Because nobody looks like me. Like,
right.
I consider myself young looking, right? And I'm walking in, got my little swag, and I'm like, oh, what's up? And you become cool with everybody because they see you enough. They're like, yo, he lives here.
Yeah.
But then you see guys like when I first got there, I was like, yo, man, do I even belong here? Like, because I'm in the city my whole life. We moved to like this tennis community, and you know, there's no sidewalks and you got to drive everywhere. It's like a different thing. It's only 15 minutes from the Bronx and 30 minutes from the city, but it's a whole different thing, right? So I think that changed my life, and then I identified it because I had friends of mine also making that same change, buying further up in Westchester, buying, I'm not flexing, but boat houses and you know, all that shit. Yeah. And they're like, yo, oh man, they see me, da-da-da. I'm like, yo, bro, you belong here. So going back to, I knew what I experienced, I'm letting my boys know, you belong here, you qualify, bro. You make $250,000. Like I was building them up because going back to imposter syndrome, they feel insecure. They're like, yo, but then nobody looks like us. I was like, we are us. We're the new people. We earned it. Nobody gave us the house. We didn't inherit money. Like we're the new people. I was like, love that shit, man. And he was like, thanks. Oh, good. Yo, man, this guy's closing on like this $800,000, $900,000. He's asking me these questions on the side. Like, yo, bro, you good? And for my friends, I always show up. I don't have to, but I'm always there through the whole step because I struggle with certain things. So I know it might not be easy for somebody to say that, but it'll come out at the right time. And that for him was the right time. I was like, yo, bro, I got you. What are you crazy? We belong here. And I built him up a little bit. And he's a big time dude. He's like, yo, thanks, man. Like, cause we need peers to tell us, yo, we good. Because by ourselves, if we're by ourselves most of the time and people work for us, like we don't have anybody to be like, yo, we're good. Right?
You need the community.
Right. And then again, going back to, we don't come from anybody with money. Like I don't have a rich uncle or a father that be, yo, don't worry about that. Like I'm talking about my son yesterday about the stocks I want him to buy. I said, yo, every time I pay you, I want to put 10% in this. I said, open up the thing. So I'm trying to develop a pattern for him. I didn't have that conversation with anybody.
I had to learn that.
I learned that on my life. Being broke too many times. I was like, yo, how do we hedge this, right?
Mm-hmm. Wow, man. Listen, what a inspiring story you have, man. I mean, to be sitting here next to you, man, and hearing, you just took me on a roller coaster, brother. And to hear your story from where you started to where you are to where you're heading. Yeah. I want to tell you, you're an inspiration to me because we need more people like you active in what they're doing and believing it in their true purpose and showing it. Yeah. Because I think it's, especially at this time right now, we need that. We need real role models. We need people that have been through it all and they're still here and they survived and they're thriving. Not just surviving, but you're thriving.
And I want to say believe. Like you can't, if you don't see somebody like us talking about things like this, you don't feel like you belong there. Correct. And that has always been my fucking mission. I was like, no, we belong. We belong because people I met that were farther ahead didn't start with it, right? They got some sort of break and the break came from the hard work and being available and it all comes from the work, right? So like, yeah, man, I like, no handouts. They're like, we here, you're there. It could be anybody. And if we inspire the next person to do their own podcast or buy a building or whatever, you know what I'm saying? Like that's the goal. That's the goal.
Amen, brother. I mean, you said it better than me, man. Yeah. God bless you, brother. Listen, before I get you out of here, man, please talk to everybody out there. Let them know where they can find you. What do you have going on? What do you have coming up next? Give everybody the whole 360.
All right, everybody. Ask Luis Omar on all platforms. You can get me on any social media platform. That's my handle. I will be doing we're going to do some speaking events, me, Sean, and Big D. And you guys will be invited and I'll let you know. And we're just trying to change the narrative, man. We're letting people know that you can break these traumas. You can be the one that changes everything for your family. You just got to be around people that can give you maybe some insight, some education, and help you get that leverage. And that's really what it's about.
100%. You're a walking, breathing example of that every day, man. And I thank you so much for sharing the game, sharing your wisdom with my audience, and being an example of what a successful entrepreneur and honorable man and father and husband should be.
Man, that was a great fucking classification. I really appreciate that. And I'm looking forward to having you on my show.
Excited to do it. Can't wait. We'll set it up, brother.
All right, man.
God bless, brother. Thank you, man. Guys, that is a wrap on episode 58 of I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman podcast. If this podcast inspired or moved you in any way, please subscribe to my Apple, Spotify, and YouTube platforms by typing in Luis Guzman, I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, and clicking that subscribe button. Also, please make sure to follow me on Instagram at I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman, and also on TikTok at I'm an Artist, Not a Salesman. I am thankful for every listener. I pray you have a blessed one, not a stressed one. Peace.
I need you by my side.